And as flat broke as I was, I knew that if I wanted to be a 7-figure freelancer, no matter which platform I used to generate the leads, I needed to see how you did it. I stumbled on the book 6-Figure Freelancer, and I bought it on Amazon. So truth be told, the book was a recap of some of the basics for me, but there were certain parts that I just couldn't quite wrap my mind around and immediately apply. So then I Googled Laura Briggs because I had no idea what I was looking for. And I remember this day like it was yesterday. It was the 27th of December, 2020, and I was flat broke. And my lack of lead generation had finally caught up with me, and Upwork was no longer, of course, a viable source of clients with 85% job success score. So when I Googled that name, it was literally like Googling a prayer. And that's how I landed on the Advanced Freelance Roadmap. Now, sure, Laura, you have plenty of courses, but that was the one that spoke to me the most. Yeah. And as flat broke as I was, I knew that if I wanted to be a 7-figure freelancer, no matter which platform I used to generate the leads, I needed to see how you did it, right? So the decision on that day, the 27th of December 2020, I believe changed my life. Now, to be fair, I still needed to raise the funds in order to afford the course, but I made it my New Year's resolution, and I think we spoke about this. I said, by March, I have to be enrolled and doing whatever you told me to do. And that's exactly what I did.
Oh, this is so interesting because I didn't know some pieces of this story, right? And I think it's at a, like, the first thing you talked about that really grabbed me is this whole idea of how one client on Upwork can be so harmful to you. Because it's one thing when it's a shorter project, right? Like say you take on a project and it's, $100 or $200, the client leaves you bad feedback. It's going to affect your job success score, but you can recover from that.
You can recover, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
They put so much weight into those long-term contracts, which to me, it's like, well, first of all, if this person hired me for a long time on Upwork, they were happy. They would not stick around for a year or 2 years, even 6 months, if they really were not happy, right? But what happens when the client is in that power position there and leaves you the bad feedback, then you're kind of like, well, now my entire reputation is tarnished, and now you're always having to overcome that in your marketing. And so I think a lot of advanced freelancers hit this point of going, all right, Upwork or Fiverr or some other job board helped me get to this point. I got my experience. I do have good feedback from clients. I feel better about my pricing, but now it's time for me to make a plan for how I find my own clients. So can you talk a little bit about how you pivoted from relying on those kind of 2 core clients or Upwork to bring you business? Where did you go in terms of making a shift into kind of finding your own clients?
Oh, there was no shift. It was literally hunt or die. So then I immediately thought, where am I already, right? Let me put myself in the shoes of my ideal client. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. So how can I do marketing on these 2 platforms? Facebook, easily, groups. I headed straight to Facebook groups and I networked like a mad woman. And I'm genuinely made relationships with these women who would later become my clients. And I answered questions. Obviously, in the beginning, you're not going to get paid for your answers on Facebook groups. But when you offer value up front, people send you direct messages or private messages or ask for permission to send you a message and say, hey, you shared something really interesting about lead generation as for a law firm. Could you please tell us more? I just started my own little small practice and I'm really, really struggling getting clients through the door, or my favorite, I'm really struggling to get paid because everything else in law depends. But let me tell you, the bills do not depend. So I would have people DM me and I'd be like, oh, you need a funnel. You need to do this. And I went, holy, I'm not a copywriter anymore. I just became a digital strategist. And that's literally how it happened for me. So I left Upwork and I went on social media, and that is how I pivoted. And then because I hadn't set up any other way of getting paid, and Upwork had created this, I don't know if it was stroke of genius or stroke of luck, they actually give you an incentive to bring clients to the platform, and that's how you get paid. So they take a small little cut on the top, kind of like if they had found the client for you, and then you get paid. They put the money in escrow and you get paid that way. And so I started actually bringing clients to Upwork and getting paid that way, and by George, that saved my job success score, because those are people who I already had good rapport with. And little by little, my JSS started going up until now, as we speak, it's where it's supposed to be, 100%.
And I'm so happy to hear that. And I love this strategy too, because I think some freelancers would just shut down and go, okay, my reputation is tanked on Upwork. It's 85%. There's nothing I can do here. When you are in business, it is always about adapting and being creative.
Right.
And sometimes you have to think about that of like, okay, what am I missing here? Are there any opportunities on the table where I can potentially restore my job success score? And you found a great way to do that by saying, let me bring some clients onto the platform. I know we're going to have a positive experience. I'm going to get that additional work there. So another thing I want to talk to you about is you mentioned that you made this shift from copywriting to marketing strategy. Can you talk about like this whole idea of seeing something in the market or in the way that you were working as a copywriter that made you realize going over to marketing strategy and offering those services would be a better fit?
So, as I've said before, I'm a lawyer and a forensic investigator by profession, but copywriting is what put me through law school and allowed me to do all of this. So in order to become a copywriter, I decided to take courses that would teach me the best practices and allow me to hone those skills. So I noticed that when I first started freelancing, there was plenty of demand for digital content creation, content writing. I mean, those were the low-hanging fruit, creative writing. But the compensation wasn't nearly as good as copywriting. So naturally, that's where I went. I went to the more high-paying gig. But as time went by, this low-hanging fruit started attracting more competition. Competition that was willing to accept as little as $5 an hour. Now, at that time, I was also part of the problem, and I'll admit that, because I was only charging about $10 an hour, and that meant I was taking home about $8 an hour. I don't even want to get into the fact that I was charging for my time and not for my skill set, which was also another mistake that I was making. So after reading your book, Six-Figure Freelancer, and also realizing that copywriting couldn't possibly encompass all my skills, I did a major rebrand. So I realized that because I could do social media marketing, I mean, I'd saved my JSS score purely through social media, YouTube optimization, and on YouTube, I could demonstrate results to clients within 24 hours. I could do legal content writing. I could do content about patent prosecution. I could create content for management consultants. So I realized that my line of work, my actual niche, was all about helping my clients get their ideal clients and get paid by their ideal clients. And so that's how I was finally able to make the pivot from simply copywriting, which, I mean, it's a skill that I'm going to use in all of my projects, to digital strategy for brands, for entrepreneurs, for coaches, for law firms. And I think my major differentiator, not to toot my own horn, is that I understand how the average law firm's lead funnel works and where it's broken. So whenever I see a SPOF or a system point of failure, I will create this value-packed cold outreach as a video, and then I will send it to the prospective client. And if they like what they see, then they'll respond back and ask me how we can work together. So I did this aggressively for the whole month of January and February. And by March, my birthday month, I made my very first 10K month just by simply using this strategy.
Yeah. And this strategy is, we've talked about it in coaching sessions. You've also made a video like this for me that I have now reviewed, auditing my one of my own social media channels. And I think that this is such a unique approach. And it's one that a lot of freelancers really struggle with, because we want to show the value, and we also want clients to respect our boundaries. So how do you walk the line? Because essentially these audits are free, or what the videos that you're sending to people are free, but you do protect your boundaries really well. So it's not like you're just putting in hours and hours and then the person doesn't hire you. Sometimes that does happen, right? But that's true with pitching in any way. So how do you walk that line between giving away awesome free information and protecting your boundaries to kind of move this relationship closer to being one of client and freelancer?
Right. So I don't know if it's because I'm South African or I don't know, but I have a rule. If you have a diamond mine, share the pave. So pave, when you cut diamonds, it's that little diamond dust that gets left behind. So most people create jewelry out of that pave. Share it. Most people aren't willing to give away a piece of a diamond. So giving away a valuable piece of the puzzle doesn't actually cause me to lose out. It demonstrates to clients that, oh, whoa, there's plenty more of diamonds from where that came from. And another thing that I...
Coming up next on the final installment of my journey to six figures.
How? So in all my audits, and maybe you can even attest to this, in all my marketing outreach, I take a look at what is going wrong. Then I take a look at when things should have been changed, or when things should change after implementing a few tweaks. And then I explain why the client would want to do this. And then I also give them a sneak peek into what it looks like when it's done correctly, or why their competitors did well in a certain area.